Good morning, good morning. How is everyone this morning? Happy Friday. Made it to the end of the week, and unless something changes in the next half hour, it looks like we're going to be opening on another gap. uh, hey, Moran. Hey, Nano. Raj. Glad you got there safely. Oh, well, what did uh, that guy in Reminiscence of a Stock Operator? What did the old turkey say to the? He said, "Remember, well, it is a bull market." Hey, forget about it. What's going on? How you doing? Welcome, everyone. Welcome. Let's see. What did I forget to do? Hey, Mike. How are you? All right. What's going on? Oh man, I took one trade. I took one trade, and I will admit, full on, that I got lucky on that trade. It was a look below and fail. Let's go through the lineup here. See what's shaking. So our high is 65.39. Our inventories, I would say, probably 90% long. Um, we did a look below and fail of the previous day high. Hey, Shark, what's going on? We have 3 sets of single prints from yesterday that did not fill. Yesterday, that profile, I don't know what profile shape that would be. That'd be like when Vancouver had the Olympics. That's like an Olympic torch profile. It is just a mess. But it is Friday, and nobody really has to sell anything, right? So if you don't have to sell stuff cheap, why would you, right? So off we go, and we've got a lot of people trapped short. We have people trapped short starting at 64.28 from a couple of days ago. Continued to get trapped the day after, and then yesterday. Yesterday is when we took the shorts and literally put their head in a vice. Hey Dan, how you doing? Good to see you. So the level I'm looking at to the upside is 64.57. And what that is that 64.57 level is the top of a zone, and the bottom of that zone is 63.06. So it's it's something, if we get up there, I'm looking to see if we get actually some selling. Those are my long-term levels. If we get any kind of liquidation or at least a pause would be nice. Um, I did not trade all morning. I was at the doctor's for a good bit of it. I came back and I took this one trade. And I usually don't trade news, but this one was an obvious. When the news came out and we came down, and the levels have been working all night, so I'll say that preemptively. In Globex, the levels have been working. So we did a look below and fail. Now, this candle moved very quickly. So I was actually trying to buy it at 10:11. When I saw this candle couldn't take the low of that one, all I did was I hit buy ask. And it was offered at 12 at the time. That's how I got that price. I didn't bid for it and get it there. I bought it when the bid was underneath 12. I hit buy ask on 3 contracts. And as it went up, I was ready. And before I could even put my sell orders out, the market moved so quickly that basically by the time I flattened out of the trade, we were at 23. So it wasn't really a great amount of skill, right? I'm a fast trader, but I'm not like, Superman or anything. So I I I took the offer because in the old days they would say the stock's in motion. You guys anybody ever heard that saying? Well, I guess you wouldn't because you wouldn't be calling market makers. But in the old days, if you wanted to buy a stock, right, and the stock was moving quickly, the market maker would tell you, stock's in motion. What do you want me to do? Right? And you'd be like, because if you bid for it, you're not going to buy any. So you got to take it. Right? When you take it, you got to buy the ask. Right? So I took the offer and it just ripped. And I was like, oh, it kind of caught me by surprise. And I didn't even have my sell orders out. So by the time my brain and my fingers got it together, I was out at 23. So that's the only trade I've taken today is a 12 to 23 long on 3. And I haven't traded since then. Yeah, I got lucky. I, you know, yeah, I will fully admit that I got lucky on that. A lot of people will be like, "Oh, I'm such a great trader." No, I got lucky. Fully admit I got lucky on that trade, and that's okay. Every once in a while you get lucky. But I just saw it just ran out of like when it did this and it came back up. The move from under 65.03 up to 9, that's 6 points. It just moved so quickly. And then I saw it hesitating at these single prints, and that's when I decided to go buy it. And I was like, it's moving too fast for me to bid, so I just hit buy ask. And it worked. So that was a decent trade on the mini, and considering it's Friday, I am now going to switch to the micro. Yes, hey, I'll always admit when I get lucky. It's oh, hang on. Yeah, and if you guys need any equities levels, like I just asked, what's Lulu? What stock is that? Lulu. Sounds like an ice cream store. Oh, it's that Lulu Lemon thing. Oh yeah, that's a Vancouver company. Like spandex store. Yeah, I've actually never been inside one, but the guy, what's his name? Was his name Chip? Chip, or he had like one of those 1980s preppies names, like Skip or Chip or Tick. One of those names. The guy who founded that company. I remember him from the old nightclub days. Okay, Aaron, I wanted to wait out and trade was very fast. When I saw volume kicked in, I will observe no trading for me as a retail trader. I think your thought process was great, Aaron. Now you got to remember, I took that trade because number one, I am old as dirt. Okay, I'm like prehistoric, right? I was trading when you used to have to timestamp a paper ticket, right? And we used to call our trades in on a phone. So I've been trading for 33 years, right? So when I first started retail trading, I would never even attempt that trade, even though I had been trading institutionally. It takes for a while to get in the groove. I think your thought process and your risk management, Aaron, was bang on. I generally don't trade news, and I tell people not to. But this one was kind of like slapping me in the face going, your setup's there, take the trade. Right? What is the guy's name who founded that company? It's like one of those 1980s preppy guy names, like the guys who used to drive the Volkswagen Cabriolets. Chip or Tip or Twip. Chip! There we go. Right? Now I remember. Yes, so great on the thought process, Aaron. It depends on the volatility. When the overnight takes its own low and comes back up over that old low, then that's not a bad trade either. It all depends on how quickly. Listen, as you progress in your trading, Aaron, you are going to get more comfortable with faster markets. Like, have you ever ridden a motorcycle? Like when you first get on a motorcycle, you're shaky and you don't really want to lean it around the corners. But then you see guys who've been riding motorcycles for 10, 15 years, and they lean the bike around the corner, their knees dragging on the pavement. But it takes time to get comfortable with that, right? Takes time to get comfortable with the speed of the market, right? You'll get there. And if you take as many trades as I have in my lifetime, after a while, and then you train yourself to do this trade, the look below and fail, when it goes from one level to another, you'll be able to go, oh crap, that's too fast for me. Now, remember when Mr. Trump had his Terminator Judgment Day thing, and the market just dropped and dropped and dropped? A lot of those days I didn't trade because it was just too volatile, or they wanted 20 grand a contract, right? Just ridiculous amounts of money, right? So there are times too I'll go, that's too rich for my blood, too fast for me, right? Right, so you know what it's like, right, Juan? When you first swing your leg over a motorcycle, you're kind of like, you're a little shaky, right? After a while, it becomes, it does become, it's muscle memory. Because here's the thing, until we get that thing that Elon's going to stick in our brain, we still have to move the mouse and click the mouse button, right? So until they what do they call it? The singularity? Until they merge us with the machine, trading is still a physical act. So Aaron, over time, that process, I don't know if you're a young guy, Aaron, you know how young people play video games? Well, a couple of the kids, well, I call them kids, they're 35. in my building they were playing Grand Theft Auto, and they gave me the controller. I couldn't even get the car to move, but they're like clicking, and they know the keystrokes to work that video game. It's the same thing in trading. Hopefully that helps. Well, it sounds like somebody died and fell asleep on their horn outside. Or they're just angry. Okay. Weird. Ugh. Yeah, trading's still a physical act, right? We all get there, right? Speaking of equities, I haven't even opened up my equity charts. Yeah, so inventory is just, I mean, I'm going to say it. Inventory is outrageously long. Let's see if we can get any kind of correction. And we are opening on a gap. So that's a change of information, right? That's a change of business, right? Something has changed from yesterday, right? Prices are opening outside of yesterday's range, and quite significantly so. And somebody was saying, this is really important. Earlier, somebody was saying, what did the guy say here? NFP is dollar negative and yet ES climbs. I'm confused. That's why you never read the news, right? Don't try and trade the news, because what happens in the news, right, is very hard to put into a chart. The market is going to tell you, if we're traders, just forget the news. Just make sure you know when news is there, so you know that the market's going to speed up or become volatile, right? So you can elect to trade it or not trade it. But don't try and interpret the news and trade. So back one, if you're listening, right? That's why we're traders. We never trade the news, right? We ignore the news and trust the chart. Now, if you're an economist and you want to read the news and sound really smart, that's another story. But we need practical information, right? We're like the guys on the street, right? We're hustlers, right? Traders, we're hustling, right? Just like Rick Ross, right? We're out there hustling. We're trying to grab a few points here. We're trying to grab a few points there, right? It's not our job to sound smart. We're not on CNBC. We're not wearing Armani suits, may he rest in peace, on CNBC trying to, talk up our portfolio, right? We're street hustlers, right? So that's what we teach you at the Trading Syndicate. We teach you how to hustle. We teach you how to hustle and make your daily bread. And we also teach you how to hustle without getting shot in the head, right? We want to teach you how to make money without going through all this horrible stuff like FOMO and tilt and, the stuff that destroys your psyche, destroys your account, destroys your life. We want to keep you centered so you can handle your business, right? You know? Exactly. Get rid of that fish before it starts making smell, right? What do I have about 65.47? You know, Rolly, last week I was joking. Somebody goes, "What's above 65.47?" And I went, "The singularity." Over 65.47, we become one with the machine. Now I have to do some more levels, right? If we do get above 47, we'll use these levels off the 1 minute chart. I'll go and I'll put in some more levels. I've got 65.87, but I honestly never thought we were going to get up here this quickly. Yesterday, I have to admit, surprised me. It's very strange. Very strange market behavior. Um, so I've got, so above 47, I've got 65.87 and 66.26, but I'll go and I'll put these levels in. They'll basically be around 10 points. I'll publish those levels in my weekend update video. I'll put that out tomorrow. Okay? And that'll be on X and YouTube. Let's hope we get some liquidation. You know? This market is just when you think you got it figured out. Exactly. There's no reason to sell. You're so cheap you cut your own hair. That's good. Nothing wrong with that. Okay, let's see if we can liquidate. Right? We finally see that there's a seller for more than a minute. Right? 1, 2, 3. Let's see. Come on now. Let's see if we can take that stop at 34. So we're going to open on a gap. Of course I'm short biased because common sense would say that you're short biased, right? Because inventory is what? Where's Sadiq? We haven't seen Sadiq in a couple of days. Have they married him off or something? Because we don't. He's kind of disappeared again. His mom might have married him off. They got him locked in a dungeon getting ready for marriage. So, who's got the software up and running? Hey, Horko Wall Street, how you doing? Happy Friday. Oh, is it 95% long? 90% long? Jam, there's Jam. What's inventory, Jam? 100%. It's not. Is it 100%? No, it can't be. We traded underneath the close. It was, but not anymore. Okay, let's spitball and say 90%. Okay? LC is working on some top secret internet security thing, and he's not allowed to access stuff. Yeah, it's his real job. And then he's also went on vacation too, which is good because he hasn't had a good vacation in a long time. He's doing well. Hopefully he'll be back soon. Miss having him around. Now, let's see. So, of course, right, now, the little secret is when traders know that other traders are short, they are going to put the boots to their head, right? And try and push this thing as high as it can go. Order flow permitting, of course, right? Always order flow permitting. So, generally, when you have a big gap up, we'll see if we can get that buying surge off the open. And then come back and backfill. Okay? That's what I'm going to be looking for. Right now, pre-market, this is interesting. We have a rotation. Right? There's our rotation right there, pre-market. Well, yesterday, Raj, at the close, remember yesterday I said 10 minutes before the close, I said watch out for buy-ins, and then boom, they just, they happened. Uh, I think any intelligent trader would have bought themselves in. Generally, we'll see that, they're off the open, off the close. Remember, buy-ins are a negotiation and margin calls are a negotiation between traders and their primes. I think they've already had some buy-ins, Raj. That's why we're up 27 points or 26 points. So we got a minute to the open. The POC, Raj, is all the way down at 64.24, 65.24, just so you know. Now, folks who are new to trading, who are not consistently profitable, right? Please be careful, okay? Sorry, S-Pill, I didn't see your question. I said that there were buy-ins from those who were forced to had to buy. That is short covering, right? That is, you either buy yourself in or you wire money to hold the short position. And generally when markets make new highs, you will see a lot of buy-in activity, generally at the close. And that's why N and O period were considerably higher too. So here we go. If you're shorting, first place of interest is going to be 31. Okay? So we're off. Let's see what happens. And I bet your market breadth really isn't that great. Right? Test short 37, 2 micros. Covering 35, half. One left. Whoa! Whoa! I did not cover all three in time. Wow. I got lazy at 35 half. I covered two there. And then, boom, I had to grab the offer. Undisciplined. Undisciplined. Not a good thing to be undisciplined. Sellers are at 40 and a half. 2 to 1. Thanks, Telek. So breadth, what breadth means is the buying volume versus the selling volume as a ratio in the New York Stock Exchange. It is just something that I get curious about every once in a while. So right now, breadth is 2 to 1 positive, Omen, which means there's 2 times as much buying volume as selling volume in the NYSE, in the New York Stock Exchange. Absolutely meaningless for trading. It's one of those things, it's like looking at the temperature before you go outside. I'm just curious to see what it is. Right? Like during COVID, market breadth was 700 to 1 negative. Right? So there was 700 times more selling volume than buying volume. Right? I'm always just curious as to what it is. I don't use it for trading. So right now we seem to be in a rotation. Right? We're just rotating our inventory. Whoop. It's choppy, right? The market's never traded here, ever, in the entire history of the market. So the order flow, the flow of customers is not going to be reliable, right? So always keep that in mind. That's why we trade small size. If we can't get over 37, we should try and take out the open. Make sure that if you are shorting this thing, like a look above and fail of 37 or 36 3/4, get your bids in, because if you don't have your bids in, you're going to have to compete with other buyers, right? If it accepts back up over 37, then you know to scratch. Cover it to weakness, my friends. Put your buy orders in, right? So short 36, covering 33, flat. Sorry, 35 flat. I'm just playing the rotation. That was the middle. Kind of irresponsible, but I took the trade. Yeah, this is pretty historical stuff. It's kind of cool. It's nice to have you guys to share it with, because before I started the trading room, I'd be by myself going, "Oh, that's really cool," and nobody to talk about it with. Take that. Come on. See, there's that stop right there. And it's stopping right there. Oh, while we're chopping around here, I want to make sure you guys. I put a reminder in the room, but I'm going to say this to people on YouTube. If anybody contacts you pretending to be and saying they're either going to trade for you, please don't send them any money. Or if they're trying to sell you an education service, don't send them any money. Well, let's see if we take out this 32. There's a lot of scammers. If you're going to work with me one-on-one, I will always insist that we have a phone call and talk. And it'll be at least a good hour conversation where I'll get to know you and assess your trading needs before I even ask you for a dime. Okay? So please be aware of that. Oh, come on. Take out that stop already. Quit being so hoggish with this. Take out the 32s. Come on. Oh, that's right. I forgot about AI. Yeah, also read the email address of who's sending the invite. So now we're just rotating between 33 and 37. Like a couple of people got scammed and then they contacted me going, okay, I'm ready for my session. And I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, I paid you like $300 to do a session. I'm like, no, you didn't. And I don't charge people for like an hour or though. I'll usually do it for free. And then you can sign up to my mentoring course if you know you approve of what we're doing. So, and I've had to just like give away, you know, my time because I feel bad that people got scammed. So I'll just teach them for free. So, but I'm running out of time. So, ask you guys to please do some due diligence before you said, buddy. We're stuck in the middle of this rage. I'm super short biased, but right now I'm not getting any confirmation until we get underneath the open or at least underneath 32. I don't know, Raj. I'd do a price lab if anybody showed up. Well, let me put it to you this way, right? If you guys have questions, I'll do a price lab. Otherwise, I'll kind of wait. If you have questions, if you want to talk about stuff, right? Yeah, but you got to ask questions. Otherwise, I got nothing to say, right? The price labs are for you guys who are the coaching class to say, look, I'm having a problem with this, I'm having a problem with that. You got to get on the mic, talk to me, or at least ask questions in the room. Otherwise, I end up doing a stand-up, comedy routine. Brian, it's for people who are in the coaching program, in the mentorship program. So if you're interested in it, just DM me anytime, and I'll be happy to talk to you about it. Okay, so we'll have a price action lab at 11. I'll be there, right? We'll see who shows up and who's got stuff to say. Oh, damn it. Be careful if we start taking out the 41s here and accept over the overnight high. Yeah, oh, but it's for people who are doing the mentorship program with me. Yeah. I'm pretty hands-on with my mentoring. I'm always, I spend a lot of time of my time with people, and these price action labs are for them to, in a group environment, ask questions and work things out. But lately, it's been summer. It's been kind of slow. People have been away. Yeah, if you ever want info about it, just reach out, Omen. I'll hop on the phone with you and help you through that. Good grief. Here we go. Okay, this is where it becomes unreliable and unpredictable. Is if we get over that 40, 65, 40 and a half. If you are short, right, you got to have your stop up here. You just be using that as your stop. You're looking for bids here, and that's your rotation. All right, rotating up from 34. Just play the edges of that. Right, if you're long 35, put your sell orders out. Boom, boom, boom. And your risk is right here. All of them are not consistently profitable, Omen. It's a journey. That's why the coaching is lifetime coaching. No. And don't let anybody tell you they're consistently profitable. Everybody has bad periods that they have to work through, right? The goal is to be consistently profitable. No one is always 100% consistently profitable. Okay? That's just not how the business operates. We all have, some days I can't trade my way out of a wet paper bag. That's why we have the process. So I know if I start taking trades on the micro and I start losing money, I stop trading. Right? That's what keeps me from freaking out and blowing up accounts. Right? The other thing is, yeah, don't trade ES on a cell phone. Right? Sure, you can maybe swing trade stocks using an app on a cell phone. That's fine. But don't try and trade a fast market on a cell phone where you're going to have data cutting in and out. And you're like, oh, I'm trying to trade and drive a car at the same time. Don't do that. That's just bad business. Totally irresponsible. Right? Yeah, cell phone is for calling your broker to get out of a trade. All right. Can we take this thing a little bit lower and go tickle 24? Come on now. Good grief. Yeah, do not try and trade ES from a cell phone. It sounds glamorous, you're on your skateboard eating your avocado toast, wearing your beanie hat, but I highly recommend not doing it. So the rotation stretched out to 32. So you're long 33, 34, 35. You want to sell into this 39. I'd be selling into the 39s if I were you. Why not? All right, now let's see if we reverse and come back down. If we don't, what I'm nervous about is getting accepted over this level here. Like that. Right? Let's see. A little bit of a breakout. Now, they're going to sell into the breakout because that's how we do it, right? So large trader is going to sell into that breakout. So if you're shorting, right, make sure you got your bids in, right? And if you can't cover on those bids, I'm short 38 and a half and one at 38 and 3/4. And I'm covering them at 37 and 30. Oh, I got one at 36 and 3/4. So I'm just scalping micros. And what I'm doing is I'm just working both sides of this area. So it's look above and fail, look below and fail. Do I care for a 30-point trade? No, I don't. Right? I'm just trying to make a couple of points in the zone, pay the cell phone bill, right? And that's what we do. We trade for income. Yeah, it's actually a 10 handle range. It's not that bad. You're right, Nano. Right? Could be worse. Oh. Yeah. Some of those Globex sessions when you have a 6 tick range, those are brutal. Absolutely brutal. You guys have any questions? Hmm, a sell order. Let's see if we get follow through. Here we go. Come on down to 24. Come on down to flavor country. Don't reverse on us yet. It's really choppy. I think, for myself anyway, I'm probably done trading for the day unless I see an obvious trade. It's been an okay week. Um, yeah, it's starting to get choppy. These markets often take some time to build up and trap people one way or another before you can get a move. Nice work, Jam. Nice work. Looking for 25 and 3/4. The cost basis of the overnight is here at 24. So the market will liquidate down to cost basis when they have a sale. Hmm. A bit of a choppy mess. And the problem with opening on a gap this large is that we have so many people trapped short Not just from the overnight, but from the day before and the day before that. And so it's a real dog's breakfast. That's why any liquidation kind of just, it like creeps lower and stops and creeps and stops. A serious pain. There's 25 and 3/4. Finally clipped it. Where's VWAP now? Oh, we're underneath VWAP. That's good. I can liquidate a little bit here. Sorry, guys. You guys have any questions, please ask. Please feel free. Apologize for this massive short squeeze. Please write your congressman if you have any complaints. If you're like me, you're already in weekend mode. Yeah, it's been very, very, very annoying, definitely. Do I ever trade 4-hour trades? Dear God, no. Or overnight longer trades? No, sir, I do not. I have trouble hanging on to stock for 4 hours, and that's when they give it to me for free. The only thing I'm comfortable holding long term is Bitcoin because I own so little of it that if it gets wiped out, it doesn't matter. Any thoughts on Lulu? I'm going to do up the chart afterwards, $6 million man. I mean, the stock must be doing well. The guy built a huge house in Vancouver. There's 23. Now let's see if we can get a gap fill. Come on now, let's fill that gap. If you're looking for a long, you might take a long off the gap fill. Look below and fail of 20 quarter. I want to go long. No. I'll wait for the gap fill. There we go. Long 19, out 21. Just scalping. I knew that there were going to be some bids down at that gap fill. Right, and it's going to be good for at least one quick little bounce. Right. Jam, your risk should always be structural. Right? There you go. Seller at 23. Does the one guy still trade in your room, your protege that they kept up? Yes, he does. He's on holidays right now. He's in Nantucket or one of those places that rich people go that look like a, Abercrombie and Fitch catalog. He's in one of those fancy places this summer. Yes, but he still trades. LC. Yeah, I trade for income, so I never try and hold a trade. I mean, for me to hold a trade for 4 hours, dear God. Like even the thought of that gives me high, like just no. And in this market, I commend people who do. Nothing wrong with that. But I'm a fast trader. I like to scalp. 3 to 5 point trades are my specialty because if you do 3 to 5 point trades, Brian, on 5 to 10 E-mini contracts, you can make a decent living. I mean, you're not Bobby Axelrod. You're not buying private jets, doing 3.5 points, 3 to 5 points on 10 contracts. But you could pay your bills. And especially if the range is 60 to 80 points, you better really know what you're doing if you want to hold trades that long. I commend people who do. I do have methods for you guys to do it if you have the capital and the skill. But I generally do not recommend holding trades for 4 hours if you don't have the skill to do it. Because in 4 hours, you can get yourself into a lot of financial trouble. Yeah, let's see. I am listening. I'm still looking for a gap fill, right? I'm still looking for a gap fill. Here we go. Come on, gap fill. 2 ticks. We're close. That's good, AZS. And since we're putting quotes in there, I'll give you a very good one by Hunter S. Thompson. When the going gets weird, the weird turn pro. Always remember that. Now let's go fill this gap. They better not leave this unfilled. When did they have that 1 point gap or that 1 tick or 2 tick gap? It was in 2024, wasn't it? Was it 2022? I don't know. The years all just meld together now, Jeff. See how we're flirting with the gap fill? Here we go. Come on. Oh, they tease us. This is like Hot Tub Time Machine with the guy with the chainsaw. There, it's filled. Gap filled. A little bit of responsive buying from the shorts. They should sell into it somewhere at 1920. I'm looking for, where's my seller? Come on. That's the power of algorithmic trading and electronic execution. Gap fill to the tick, cut the sell. Right? Fill the gap, cut the sell. Make them push higher and sell it into the 19s. There's our seller at 19. Let's see how aggressive they are. There we go. Come on, let's take out the 16s. There's all sorts of unfilled orders from 12 to 16. No gap at 21, my friend. Gap fill at the previous day high, right? Don't I have the previous day high at the right place? I do. Yeah. There we go. Come on, let's go fill some bids. You know what, Brian? You got to start somewhere, right? We all start at the same place, right? Nobody starts out trading $2 million and does it well. In fact, I have a friend of mine who was trading futures back in the 90s. His mother was a billionaire, but he blew $5 million trying to trade futures in about a month and a half. And then he thought he could make the money up, and then he lost $6 million betting on Vancouver Canucks hockey games. And that was the end of his time in Vancouver. His mom hauled him back to Hong Kong. Looking for the close at 65.12 half. Finally, some liquidation. Dear Lord. So it took half an hour. It took 40 minutes before we saw any liquidation. Oh, wait, I went long. Yeah, I was long at the 12s. So it doesn't matter even if you have a huge account. If you don't know what you're doing, you can still comparatively lose just as much money percentage-wise. Hey, when he lost that $4 or $5 million, man, I was physically sick. That's before, that was like 1992. So he had direct lines to the floor in Chicago because he had millions of dollars down there, and screens where they had to like bring in telephone line and hardwire the screens in because there was no internet. You just sit there and watch him lose 100 grand, 200 grand. You're like, stop, stop. There's the close. We're one tick away from the close. Now, if we break 12, okay, if we break 12 and we break that point of control from yesterday at 11, the first place that you're going to be looking for bids are these single prints. Now, we went through them in the overnight, but they're still valid. And that's that short position from 65.04 to 8 quarter. Now, if you are still short, as we come into that 11:10 area, it's going to get choppy, right? It's going to get bumpy. So be prepared for that because that's where a lot of the bids are. There should be a seller somewhere up at the 17 and a half area. 17, 17 and a half at yesterday's high. That should be where there's a seller. I haven't looked at the commodity markets actually ever, S-Pill. There's the close. How are canola futures doing? I remember when I was a kid growing up in Saskatchewan, at lunchtime they would always have the farm report on TV. Here we go. Looking for bids at 8. Oh, that's from that Tom Cruise movie. That guy did not have a good ending. Looking for bids at 65.08, quarter, 8. And we're dropping in. There's 8 quarter. Boom. Should get a little responsive buying, but if there's a seller, let them drop. It'll drop down to 4 and fill those prints. Here we go. All right, remember I said if you're short and it gets down here, it's going to be a little bit bumpy. Well, the one good thing about restarting from zero, Brian, this time you can use discipline and you can use focus and you can use some common sense. Right? Pretend you're a hedge fund manager and you blew up your hedge fund. So you take your wife and you go to the south of France for 3 months and then you come back and start a new hedge fund. There you go. Right? Right? That's what hedge fund managers do. When they blow up a hedge fund, they go on vacation. So you take some time off, get refocused, get back up on that horse. Looking for 65.04 and a half. And then, of course, the overnight low. Well, it's a family-friendly room, S-Pill. That's why I didn't say that. And remember, a lot of wives are listening to this stream. Let's take out that overnight low. Finally, we got some good liquidation. It's not bad to take profits, eh, Rolly? Good for them. There's the overnight low. So we filled the singles. I can go and erase those now, right? So good inventory correction. Taking out the overnight low targets right there, 64.99 and a half. That next set of single prints here. Then we have a stop right here. Oh, I didn't have the lower stops in. Ooh, JJ, bad JJ. Should have had this all done. There are your lower stops, my friends. It was a good liquidation. It took a while, right? You know, we futzed around here with that back and forth for a good amount of time before it finally broke free. You know, going back and forth here almost an hour. That's it. It's Miller time, S-Pill. You're done. There you go. Big ranges. Now, people ask me, when do I redraw the balance range? So that's balance, 2 times discount, 4 times discount, and then it goes to 8 times discount. If it goes under 8 times discount, I'll probably redraw the ranges. I'll redraw balance. Now, long should be targeting that overnight low. There will be a seller there, right? If you're looking to go long, you want to wait until we reclaim the overnight low. Yeah, the seller was at the overnight low. So a trade there would be hit 65.02, put your stop at 3.5, and then cover here, right? If you're shorting against the overnight low. And Raj brings out a point. The way these markets have been, do not be surprised if we get down to yesterday's low, don't be surprised. These markets are entirely now 100% penny stock speculative. So, you know, it's not, they used to say, this used to be a business for gentlemen. It is not anymore. Looking for bids at 92. Taking out the lower signals. Beautiful. Chewed right through them. So the last 2 days we abused the short sellers. Today we're abusing the longs. Right? It's an equal opportunity spanking machine. An area I'm interested in is where the POC was from 2 days ago, and also this EFGH, this 6479 area. I wonder if we could hold that. That's the thing about this market. It's equal opportunity. Everyone goes through the spanking machine. Plays no favorites. Just lately it's been like the shorts. But today it's really getting the longs. Anyone who was long, hell, over 6,500 is just getting spanked right now. Oof. Geez, this is like a penny stock. This reminds me of a deal that I consulted on. And the guys, they were just villains. They were actually really villains. They weren't. They were villains. They weren't like finance people. And I'm going to show you folks something. This is why I say it trades like a penny stock. Okay, there's yesterday, there's today. Look, does that look at all similar? Right? This is a penny stock. There's the ES. It's the same thing. Which is good for us because I know my way around penny stocks. But these markets are trading in the most speculative way they have since I can remember them. Right? So they took it up and they sold the bejesus out of it. And they're still not done selling. Looking for 64.80 and a half. Whew. Well, everyone. Exactly, Howard. Now, you folks make sure you trade safe through the rest of the day, okay? My degenerates, I will see you at 11 o'clock in the price action lab. Okay. Thank you everyone for being with us. Appreciate you guys. Come spend some time with us at the Trading Syndicate. I'll make it worth your while. If you're having any trouble, reach out to me in the trading room so you know you're dealing with the real JJ instead of an imposter. And if you need help, just reach out. I'm vwaptrader1 on X. This is the tradingsyndicate.org. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a wonderful weekend. I'm going to get out there and enjoy that Liverpool sun. Thanks, Bakwan. Thanks, Moran. See you, Raj. Have a wonderful and safe weekend. And we'll see you all on Monday. I'll have the weekend update. I'll be good and I'll get it done tomorrow. And I'll have it posted. Thanks, everyone. Stay out of trouble. Don't take candy from strange market makers. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye for now.